IVC, Dowgate 433 here to do a recent finds video, all vinyl and all from the same place. So Maybank holiday, the late Maybank holiday 31st, there was a record fair in Reading. It's normally one of the bigger fairs that I go to. Is a Reading fair, happens 4 or 5 times a year in normal times. This is the first record fair I've been to since January last year, so you know, well over a year since I've been to a record fair. So so I've been waiting, kind of, a few have started, but smaller fairs that I can get to, but I've been waiting for the first Reading fair. It's held in Reading Leisure Centre, using the sports halls in Reading Leisure Centre. So I drove up there, got there just as it opens, if you like. Official open is 9 o'clock in the morning. I got there at 9 o'clock. I think there's an early bird because often, you know, the dealers are already in there with piles of records when you get there at 9 o'clock, but I'll stick to the 9 o'clock opening. Still plenty on offer. So yeah, so what did I find? So I've got 10 records here. I found a few more than that, but these are 10 that I've listened to. I didn't go mad, but I went sort of mad because it's been 15-16 months since the fair, and I don't know when I'm going to go to the next one. So yes, I'm showing these in cost order. So I didn't go mad. The most expensive record I bought was £25, and the cheapest was £1. So I'll show you these first. So for £1, a gap filler is 10cc's debut album. So this means I've now got their first 4 albums, and for me that's probably enough 10cc, if not more than enough 10cc in my collection. This is their 1973 album. This is not an original. This is a early 80s reissue, but yeah, it's in nice condition. It's got a little bit of a label tear there, but the vinyl's perfect, you know, perfectly fine, plays really well. And other than that, the cover and insert or inner sleeve are fine. So for £1, that's filled a gap. Next up, for £2, is The Best Years of Our Lives album by Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel. Again, this is in, you know, pristine condition. So there was a guy, so there's a seller that I normally buy from, Clive, who I bought from for years, and I did buy from, there's some stuff from Clive in here. He has good stuff, and often his son comes along. One of his sons comes along, and they have boxes of stuff that they're just trying to offload from collections that they bought. That's not bad stuff, but I think they kind of only sort of tend to sell the high-end stuff. So when they get collections, they try to offload the sort of book standard stuff really cheap. So these were going at £2 a record. So this is a, if you like, excellent near mint condition Steve Harley, £2. I got I think this is what, you know, the dealers had kind of rifled through all of the stuff they had, so I got the scraps, but this was there for £2. So this has got the big hit Make Me Smile, Come Up and See Me, but it's a really, really good listen. So last year I picked up Psychomodo, so I've got sort of the three Cockney Rebel albums, and again, that's probably enough for me now. I'm probably done, don't need to fill any more gaps. That'll do me. So that was good. Out the same boxes, another £2 record. Picked up this Renaissance album, Azure Door, blue and gold, or blue, and yeah. So this is lovely condition. 1979, £2. Annie Haslam's voice sounds really good on here, quite lush. Obviously, a little slightly older voice at 79, but yeah, sounds really good. The music, you know, it's just a really nice album. It's not their best by any stretch. You know, their earlier stuff is better, and this is, again, is probably where I would stop with Renaissance 79. But yeah, solid album for £2. Okay, leaping up the price range now to £5. So there was a guy who had a lot of sealed records from the likes of, you know, Ace label releases and things like that, that were sort of slightly below retail, should we say. They weren't bargains by any means. I've got a couple to show in a minute, but I went through and he had like loads of records as well. All of those are £5, all of those £10, all of those are £15. So in the £5 I found this EP, single EP, Lewis Taylor. So Be With Records are about to release in August Lewis Taylor album, his 96 album that this EP comes from. This is a promo 12-inch EP. So I picked this up. So Lewis Taylor is a bit of an enigma, I think, if that's the right term. I think so Lewis Taylor is a neo-soul 1996 artist, but that is a pseudonym, and I forget the artist's actual name, but he originally started in the late 80s, did some sort of new wave, new psych type couple of albums in that genre. I think it was in the Edgar Broughton band for a while, and now has kind of reappeared as in '96 as a neo soul artist. And it's got neo soul, but it's got sort of lots of layering, lushness, and a really kind of strange feel. Like, it's hard to describe, but yeah. So I'm looking forward to getting the Be With album release in August. But this has tidied me over. Obviously this is a single, Lucky, but it's got, you know, 3 other tracks on it as well. Okay, so that was a £5, £6 now. And I've been looking to pick up some Bangles, particularly their debut album. This is again a lovely copy. It's a Dutch press, but in lovely condition, and it's the only one I saw at the fair. It was on my kind of mental, if I see this I'll pick it up. £6. So what I tend to do at record fairs, particularly with these gap filler lower price albums, is mentally, when I pick one up and I think £6, I could probably get that for £1 at a boot sale, but you know, in 10 years or 15 years of going to boot sales, I've never seen this. So, you know, often a bird in the hand, as they say, seize the opportunity, otherwise you'll regret it. And so what I tend to do with something like this, £6, thinking £6 is, I take £4 off, as if, you know, if I wanted to get hold of this now and I bought it on Discogs or eBay, I'm going to pay £4 postage. So if at a record fair, you can forget the postage. So if I take £4 off this, I'm effectively getting it for £2, and it's a bargain because it's in lovely condition. That's how my brain works anyway. Hopefully that made sense. So I obviously it becomes less effective when you're looking at £40 or £50 albums, because the £4 difference doesn't really make much odds. But in the lower price albums, that's something I kind of makes my mind up to pick something up when I'm in an R in. Okay, next up, we're again leaping a price bracket now. I think this was £9. Is an EP by The Church. So I'm always looking to pick up The Church now, having kind of starting to get into their music over the last few years. So this is Persia is the this EP. So it's got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks on it. This is an original Australian press. Yes, really good. Really, I mean, there are, I would say, 4 stellar songs and 1 good song on this that kind of bring together. So I've got two Church albums at the moment, Heyday and Starfish, and this kind of spans those two, if that makes sense, and is really sort of their sound. But as I say, I'm a newbie into The Church, so I don't know what I'm talking about, but really enjoyed it. Perhaps I should just stick at that. I'll not try and be more informative about things I don't know anything about. Okay, so I mentioned the guy who had a lot of sealed Ace Records releases. So I bought a couple of albums by this artist. I'm just showing one here, Funkadelic. So there's a bit of trepidation here. So these are about 12 quid each, sealed. And I know that that Ace Records have released two versions of each of the Funkadelic albums, it appears. And from looking at on sort of Discogs, at reviews, I knew that one of them's one sort of run sounds awful and one run sounds great. And at the fair I had no idea which one this was, so I took a punt. I don't know. I've played it. It sounds weird in terms of the sound, not the music. It sounds a bit weird, but I haven't got anything to reference it against, so I need to do a bit of research. It feels a little bit like it's lacking bottom end bass, but I don't know if this record happened to be if you like, an atypical Funkadelic album that wasn't sort of so funky. This one I'm really happy with. So this I've been after for ages. The only album that this artist released. I'm trying to. Yeah. So this is Alice Clark, and it says The Complete Studio Recordings. So Alice Clark, that's her only album, but she did do a couple of, I think, singles, and so what this does is it's got that album on it interspersed with a few of the other singles. So it's, as it says, it's her complete studio recordings. So the only slight downside is I don't think it's sequencing. So I think although it includes the whole album, it doesn't have it all grouped together in one. But it's kind of got, say, some of the other recordings interspersed. But she's a fantastic soul singer, lovely voice, and great to have. And it's on white vinyl, which is kind of my least favourite. But it sounds really good. The pressing's really good. Okay, two more to go. So the next one was an unnecessary purchase, but I couldn't help myself. So this is back to my favourite seller, Clive. He had an original copy of Pentangle's debut album, my favourite Pentangle album. I've been looking for this for ages and got impatient a couple of years ago and bought a Music on Vinyl reissue, which is fine. So I didn't need this, but it was only, I bundled it with some other stuff, it was just over £20. And so there's a little bit of laminate lifting down the spine, and a sort of light creasing, but it's it's in really nice condition, and the vinyl's in really great condition. It plays really well. So for 20 quid, I couldn't leave it behind, as they say. And then finally, the most expensive album for £25 is Gentle Giant. So a bit of prog, UK early 70s prog, acquiring the taste. So this is a gimmick sleeve. This is a Vertigo, but oops, this is a UK second press, but it's in lovely condition throughout, absolutely fantastic condition. On the Vertigo, oops, where are we? On the Vertigo Starship or Spaceship label. So yeah, I'm really happy to get this. £25 is still a really good price for this. I've got their debut album on the Vertigo Swirl. That was a car boot find. So this is my second sort of in my journey into Gentle Giant. I do have Octopus on digitally somewhere, but yeah, this was really, so I'm kind of prog. I'm really kind of picky with my prog. This is say quite if you like, slightly avant-garde prog, but very accessible. I really enjoyed this. Really accessible, really good playing and song structures. No kind of showing off, particularly. It was all great. So yeah, really enjoyed this, and we'll probably be picking up some more Gentle Giant if I see it. I'm not actively seeking it, but if I see it, I'll pick it up. So that's 10 records that I got from the Reading Record Fair on the 31st of May. Cheers VC, bye.